In this video, we will once again look at finding zeros of a function or on the graph horizontal intercepts using your TI-84. But in this one, I want to show you some other things that might come up. So let's look at this function. Y equals 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. And we want to solve 3x squared plus 10x minus 8 equals 0. Or another way of putting this, we want to find the horizontal intercepts of the graph of this function. Now again, I have no doubt that you could actually solve this using factoring or the quadratic formula. But again, this is just for the purposes of demonstration. So let's go to our calculator. Y equals, let's put in our function, 3 times x squared plus 10 times x minus 8. Enter, and then graph. So we have a pretty good picture of this quadratic function. We do not see where the function, the graph, bottoms out. But for our purposes, that does not matter because we are, remember, interested in finding the horizontal intercepts where the graph crosses the horizontal axis. So we don't need to zoom or change the window here. Now, if your graph does not look like this, that must mean you were in a different window doing something else. So remember to choose zoom and option 6 to get to the standard window minus 10 to 10x minus 10 to 10y. Okay. So let's go after the leftmost horizontal intercept. So remember, it's second calc and option 2 for 0. Now remember, it asks us for a left bound, and if you'll remember before, we use the arrow keys left and right to scroll to the left and to the right of the intercept. Well, you do not need to use the arrow keys. You can actually type in your left and right bounds. So for example, looking here, I see that's our intercept. And counting the tick marks, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 5 is clearly to the left of our intercept. So you can actually just type in, instead of using the arrows to scroll over there, you can actually just type in negative 5 and enter. Now it'll ask you for a right bound, and again, you can just look on the graph, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So how about minus 2 is certainly to the right of the intercept. Enter. And you can also just type in your guess. So it looks like it is between 1, 2, 3, negative 3 and negative 4. So let's guess negative 3. And you can see your solution is negative 4. Now something interesting comes up here on the y value. Notice it doesn't say y equals 0. It says y equals 2e negative 12. And if you are not familiar with that notation, that scientific notation, you might know this as 2 times 10 to the negative 12. You might also know this as 2.0 with the decimal point shifted 12 spaces to the left. So for all practical purposes, this is 0. Okay, so it did find the horizontal intercept. Okay, so our first horizontal intercept is x equals negative 4. So I just wanted to show you this one because, one, it's a different way to get the left and right bounds, and if you see something like that, keep in mind that's a very tiny number, so for all intents and purposes, that is 0. Okay, let's find the other horizontal intercept, the one over here. Okay, so let's go after that one. So again, second calc, 0 is option 2. Now again, we want to get to the left of it. Now it looks like it's between 0 and 1. So how about for our left bound, we type in 0. And remember, instead of using the arrow keys to scroll to the left of it, you can just type in a left bound. Enter. And now we need a right bound. How about we choose 2 to play it safe? Don't forget to press enter. And for our guess, we'll put in 1. Now, here is something else that I want you to be aware of. It's telling us the 0 is 0.66666666, and then it rounds it to have a 7 at the end. I hope you can realize that 0.66666 and so on, which they round to 7, is in fact 2/3. So do keep in mind that the calculator will give you a decimal approximation. But for simple cases like this, things that you should know, for example, 0.66666, that's really 2/3. 0.33333 is really 1/3. Or for example, if it would give you 0.125, right, you can actually find the fraction representation for that to get your solution. Right. So keep in mind that's 125 over 1,000, which of course you can reduce. Or you can also keep in mind that this is half of 0.25, and 0.25 is 1/4, so this is really 1/8. This would of course reduce to 1/8 as well. So be careful. If I am looking for the exact solution, please convert to a fraction. Okay. Now there will be problems where a decimal solution is certainly appropriate, and I will tell you that in the problem or in the test situation. Okay. So we've seen this before, but this had a couple different things in it that you might come across when finding zeros of a function or horizontal intercepts of a graph. So keep that in mind.